Hello and welcome back. For today's episode, we'll be sitting down with Mikayla Brown, the owner of a fashion brand on the rise in Jacksonville, Florida, Sneaker Lovers. The brand dedicated to sneaker lovers worldwide looking for fly outfits to go with their unique kicks. Get to know Mikayla right here on BAS Radio.
MC, make another hit.
Whoa! This ain't what you want.
Project,
This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. Ha! 1600 block. I just wanna rock. I just wanna I just wanna rock. Body out of ya. Shorty got that body out of ya. Hit it once, no time. Side up, fuck, you gon' kill my vibe. Stand on my money, don't know my size. Pick them sides, and you better choose wisely. That's my high. 1, 2, 3, 4, throw up to 5.
Let's definitely get behind how you started.
Okay. So I started first because I was a big sneakerhead and everybody always noticed my shoes and wanted me to create a shoe, but I decided to go a different route and create the clothes to match the shoes. So I started at home just drawing because I can draw. So I was just drawing on different stuff. I messed around with customizing shoes a little bit, but it never really stuck. And then from there, I decided to advance and go full on to start my own clothing brand around 2018.
2018. So you've been five years in it so far. How's everything been going as far as that?
It's been going actually really good. At first, I obviously did really well because it was something new. Everybody wanted it. I had some times where it was like, okay, sales are lower and things aren't really doing the same, but I feel like the things I did do during that time really boosted me to where I am now. Like being more involved on social media and in different pop-up shops, it really helped set the tone and helped me stay good in my business.
Yeah, I see that. I went through your social media a couple times, and I noticed that you do all your promo, you do all your graphics and things like that just to promote your business. Talk about your process as far as like how do you come up with your content?
Or it's different for each platform. For TikTok, you kind of see what's trending, what sounds, and see how I can like spin it to basically relate to my brand. For Instagram, I went through a couple changes with my Instagram feed, which you kind of see from scrolling. But lately, it's been just getting really good graphics of my clothing and then using more of the story side of Instagram to get more interaction and new people coming in.
So I definitely want to talk about the logo. How did the logo come about?
So the logo is just something, like I said, I used to draw all the time. It's something I just used to draw all the time and it kind of stuck. I started drawing it like on notebooks, just randomly whenever I could draw. And I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and make this my logo. And it kind of worked out because now people see, well, I have it on. Some people see it as like a heart with a dagger. Some people see it as the shoelaces around the heart. So it worked out, but it was kind of unintentional. It was just something I used to draw all the time, and it ended up sticking really well to the brand.
Do you have any influences as far as like businesses that you look up to or creatives that you look up to?
Influences. One would definitely be Pearl Davis. He makes grills, but I met him at the start of my business, and he gave me a lot of knowledge and a lot of kind of ideas of how my business should be looking or the way things should be going around that time. And definitely continue to check in with me and make sure that I'm continuing to grow my brand and not just satisfied with where it's at.
Do you have any your brand is called Sneaker Lovers. Do you have any favorite sneakers?
I went through phases with sneakers. First, K-Swiss was my favorite when I was younger. I got a little bit older and Jordans started to come into the picture. I really used to love Jordan 1s. And then I would say after high school, I really got into like Pumas and Reeboks a lot because they're starting to come back. And I like the kind of the classics and some of the new stuff they're putting out.
Yeah, Reeboks definitely are underrated. I'm not gonna lie. So let's talk about your creative process. Like, how do you know what you want to drop? just kind of like just talk about your process as far as getting things done and presented to your customers.
Okay, so it always starts with obviously an idea. You have to know how to design to make the clothes. So I start my process by drawing. I'll draw out, even if it's not in detail, basically what I want to where I know what I want. And once I draw it, I kind of go through and figure out what fabrics I want to use and kind of like if I want it to fit oversized, if I want it to fit tight. And after kind of playing around with the idea, that's when I go ahead and actually make the product.
Hmm.
And from there is when I start to promote and kind of see how people are feeling about it. And when the hype starts to get a decent amount is when I go ahead and release that product.
So you basically do like pre-order phase before actually dropping the whole collection.
It's kind of like pre-order. It's kind of like I'll say a couple made just for me and for like content purposes for people to wear.
Hmm.
And it won't be pre-order like you order it, but I wait until kind of like the time is right. I don't just drop as soon as I create something because then like people won't really know about it. So I give myself probably like at least a week before I full on go into production and making that product,
Hmm.
just to get people excited about it and more people talking about it and waiting on the release.
So you mentioned last time we talked, you mentioned about an upcoming fashion show.
Hmm.
It's supposed to be, I believe you told me this month.
Yep, on the 25th of this month.
Let's talk about that. Let's definitely dive deep into that. How's everything going with that?
It's been going pretty good. I got into the fashion show. It was started by another local clothing brand owner. He is on Instagram, tr.wild. His brand is Wild Child. He just wanted to do a fashion show with all the local brands and creatives. So we kind of started talking. We got some models to walk on the runway for every brand. It's just going to be a very good, I think, like collective because we all create like different type of clothing.
Hmm.
And I think it's just going to be a good experience, a good way to, I guess, network and connect with other people who are in our same field that we didn't know were as close as they were.
What can we expect? Like, is there any sneak peeks you can give us? Because I really like some of your clothing. I like I spoke to you earlier about it. I really like the jacket, that jean jacket, the half jean jacket infused with an actual like the actual cloth of another jacket. I really like that, and then I also like the bear bag. Like, can we see things? Are we expecting to see anything like that?
I am actually looking at one of the pieces right now. You can expect to see a new jacket. I'm actually really proud of that jacket. It's a leather jacket,
Hmm.
two types of leather. It's more on the, I say it's more on the biker side.
Hmm.
It's still streetwear, but I kind of combined biker style and streetwear.
Hmm. How long does it take you to do stuff like that?
That jacket took, it's not completely finished. The back of it is completely finished. Only thing I have to do is add like the last patch to the front. But it took, I would say about a week because it's something I never made before.
Hmm.
But now that I've basically learned the patterns and how to sew it and everything, it shouldn't take more than a couple hours for the next time.
And then since we're on the topic of your business, talk about those. You've been in the game for 5 years. Talk about those ups and downs along the way, just for the listeners who want to potentially start their brand. What is some advice you can give them?
I would say don't base your brand success off of what you see other people doing
Hmm.
because for me, like a lot of people look at followers and following. For me, I like just hit 1,000 on Instagram, but at the same time, talking to other brands who have like 10K, 20K on Instagram, they can't really translate it to sales. So while it looks like their brand kind of like would be more advanced or making more, you never really know how much somebody's making or how well things are going just based on social media.
Hmm.
I would say if you know somebody who's in the game, definitely ask a lot of questions. 'Cause that's what I did. And do your own research. Don't just go by what people say is the best or what people tell you work. Definitely look into it for yourself and see what works best for you and what you want to do for your brand.
Hmm. And how important is it to separate yourself from other brands? being that you're a brand owner?
It's very important to have your own brand identity because you never want somebody to basically look at your brand and be like, oh, that looks like something from, let's just say Nike. Like, oh, that looks like a Nike shirt. You never want something you worked hard on and something you're creating to look like something else and basically somebody else kind of like get that credit for it. So
Mhm.
you really want to focus on making your brand identifiable, like having a set logo, I would say set fonts you use all the time.
Mhm.
Just something that if somebody knows who you are, they'll recognize it. And if somebody doesn't know who you are, they'll remember
So
it.
how important, you've been around for 5 years, like I said earlier. Just talk about a little bit the importance of just being consistent when starting a brand.
Consistency is a really big thing with starting a brand because you have to stay on top of basically what you're doing next. So like no matter how good sales are going or how great everything looks, you can't stop posting, you can't stop creating,
Mhm.
you can't stop. Like you can stop for a moment and enjoy and see what your work has done and what you've accomplished, but you have to get right back into working because while you're sitting there enjoying, there's somebody else working on something else that they're trying to create that's not really better, but that's basically trying to compete with what you're putting out. So it's always good to stay consistent, stay working. If you need a break, take a break. But I would say if you are able to work ahead, that's probably the best thing you can do as a brand owner. So that if something does come up where you have to take a break, you're already set on like your content for that week and your releases that are coming up. But you have to stay focused and consistent with every aspect of the business, whether it's sending out emails, or posting on social media or just consistently putting out new products, you have to stay focused.
You said something about previously about just networking. When you're coming up as a brand owner or as any brand owner, how important is networking and getting your name out there and not being,
I,
oh my bad, and not being shy to get your stuff seen.
I would say very important. I started off very shy. I was really scared to basically network outside of posting online. But I did my first pop up shop, I think it was, I would say 2, 3 years ago. And after experiencing like meeting people in person and seeing them look at my clothing in person and having that like actual in-person connection,
Mhm.
it was like a really great experience for me. And it took away a lot of the nerves of meeting somebody and introducing them to my brand because you feel like you have to basically make a sale, but you're not really selling, I would say, yourself. You're just selling your brand, the story behind it, things you want to continue to do. And the people who gravitate towards it are the people that are really going to make a big difference in your brand.
Mhm.
So I would say always network, even if it doesn't have to be like a business setting, but if somebody brings up like, oh, I'm looking at buying from a new brand or trying out some new clothes, then that would be a good segue into I have this brand. This is what type of style I do. These are like some of the products I have, and just get yourself out there.
Also, when getting yourself out there, just talk a little bit about, sticking to the plan. We live in like a microwave era where everybody wants it fast, everybody has an opinion, everybody feels like stuff should be this price, stuff should look like this. Talk about just sticking to the plan even when others don't see the vision.
I would say always have a plan. You always want to follow that plan. But if your plan doesn't seem to be working or your progress isn't quite where you want it to be, it's always okay to adjust the plan, but never adjust it to like somebody else's needs or what somebody else has going on. I always look at what you have going on and ways you can improve so that you can change your plan for the better and not for the worse. I would say people's opinions and suggestions are always good to listen to, but you don't always have to use them. I feel like you can make a pretty good decision in your mind of, okay, this will really be helpful to me, or this doesn't really apply to me. And based on how you think that through in your mind is how you would apply it to your plan.
You and I believe you said you like some time back. You said that you and your mom are the only entrepreneurs in your family. Just talk about the difference as far as like being an entrepreneur and not having to clock in for somebody else, but just full out doing like talk about that.
It's a big difference. It You don't really tell when like everybody's doing their own thing and you don't really see people, but like say something's coming up, just an event, random event, family gathering, whatever. I can easily basically work my schedule to where okay, I know I need to get all of this done before that day so I can attend and be there. But they have to like put in for their time off and basically wait and see if they can even go to the event.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the pros of having a business, but it's also gets interesting just in the way that they would, I would say, describe work. Because anybody from the outside looking in, they don't really know the behind the scenes of a business. Like
Mm-hmm.
they see me putting out products, but they don't know like I'm the one in here pressing the t-shirts, packaging them, creating the designs. They just see the final product, so they feel like it's kind of an easy job. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just explaining and getting people to understand that even though I'm not clocking in to a company, I still have to clock in with myself and make sure I'm waking up on time,
Mm-hmm.
getting everything done on schedule, and sticking to the schedule I've created for myself.
As you have been growing each year, what is something that you want to get better at as a brand?
Something I want to get better at. I would say taking my brand outside of kind of the cities and states that it's majority sold in and worn right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, I would say my top state that I sell in is Texas, even though it's a Florida-based brand. So Texas and Florida are obviously the top, but taking it outside of just those two states, trying to expand across the world a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So just figuring out ways to promote there, whether it's traveling there or even just like having people in different places to wear my brand and show it off.
What is your you said Florida and Texas are your biggest states that you sell out of. What is the number one product?
Number one product would be, well, initially it was the Progress Not Perfection t-shirt that I have.
Mm-hmm.
That was the number one for a minute. The number one now would definitely have to be, I would say that denim jacket
Mm-hmm.
would have to be the number one right now.
Fabulous. I'm talking about that jacket is hard. I really, really
Thank
like it.
you.
Do you plan on dropping that any like in another color?
I do. What I plan on doing is after the fashion show, so sometime in April, there'll be a release of the new jacket. And then with that jacket coming in, I kind of want to keep up with my jackets because those seem to sell really well. So then I would start to put out like other colors once I've released all the new stuff.
So your process is, at least if I'm hearing correctly, your process is kind of just seeing like posting something to see if like someone would bite and like it, and then that's how you are able to scale to know what to buy, how many shirts, how many fabric pieces of fabric and things like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, you just basically create something, see what sticks. If it sticks, I run with it. If it doesn't stick, there's some things that take time because I definitely have, like, there's these pocket hoodies I do where it's kind of like a bandana pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Those did not stick at first, but I had like a few people still interested, so I went ahead and dropped them anyway. But they still sell pretty consistently. So some things stick better than others, but I would say there's some pieces that you just know eventually will catch on. And I think that was one of those pieces.
So, where do you see the sneaker lover brand in the future?
In the future, definitely some storefronts. Definitely more events, bigger events.
Mhm.
A lot more fashion shows.
Definitely.
Probably a title fashion show that will be just for sneaker lovers in the future. I think that's, yeah, just more people knowing about the brand and basically seeing it more places.
Do you because right now you're a one woman show. Do you plan on adding any help anytime soon?
Yes, I just added photography. My photographer, his business is Keenan Photography. He does photography and is getting into videography. So Last time we spoke, I was saying about creating basically a visual. We're kind of like a commercial. So we're currently working on something like that.
Mhm.
I can't wait to bring that. As far as products go, recently I met a lady who is really good at sewing. So we have to basically create a time to meet up and kind of talk about like things I want to create, how she would go about creating them, kind of how our creative processes would mesh.
Mhm.
So I've been looking into expanding.
Talk about, because you said something about photography. Talk about how important it is for your product. How important is it for your product to look presentable on the internet to make people want to buy? Because that's another form of marketing as well.
It's very important for you to look at something and see quality because I could take a picture in a shirt, but then people are going to be paying more attention to probably the person in the shirt or the background. But if you take a quality picture that makes sure to focus on key points of the design and just looks very clear, then you're more likely to have people stop and look at what you're intending for them to look at and do some more research behind the shirt or the jacket, whatever it is, and just be more interested in it than if it was just like a plain picture of somebody,
Mhm.
then they're probably just gonna scroll or not really take time to look into the details.
So what do you like to do, outside of your brand? Like when everything is sold, everything you sell out, what do you like to do as far as just celebrating or just, what is your downtime like? Your downtime like?
Downtime, I'm actually a pretty big gamer, so in my downtime, I'm usually gaming.
Mhm.
um, Gaming. I've recently gotten back into reading. I would say those are my top 10 my downtime.
What games you playing?
Ooh, right now I'm playing Overwatch pretty heavy.
Hmm.
I've been really into Overwatch, and then the Mafia series. I'm on the second one right now.
Are you streaming? Like, do you do like the Twitch?
I do actually. I started streaming last year. I hit affiliate within like 2 months of streaming. So that's also another business I say kind of fell into,
Mhm.
but I do stream.
Like how is that? How cool is that to be able to balance a business and have a whole gaming, a gaming affiliate as well? Like,
It's really cool actually because it's like sometimes people will see me gaming
mhm.
and then have no idea I have a clothing brand, or other times they'll be like, "Oh, I know you have a clothing brand. I didn't know you game." And then they kind of get to learn basically more about me and kind of just outside of the brand. That's a way to connect with people. And it's just really fun to play the game. The whole gaming community is really fun. It's always a funny time.
Yeah. So it's only Overwatch and the other game is no, like, you don't play any Need for Speed, no 2K, nothing like that.
I play a lot of games. Need for Speed, Last of Us is my favorite game. I played that a couple times. Let's see. UFC 4.
Hmm.
I'm pretty decent in that. I don't play 2K. I do play Madden though.
Yeah. Who's your team?
I'm a Cowboys fan.
Cowboys. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you was gonna say you don't like the Jags.
No, I've been a Cowboys fan since I was younger. I'm from here, but like, I don't know. I
That's
kind of
normally how
just
I go.
grew up on Cowboys. So
That's normally how I go. Like a lot of people's hometown, they don't like the hometown team. The team be like way across the world. You be like, dang. So, but yeah, the Jaguars had a good season this year though. So,
they did do good this year.
you also talked about you say you take some time to read. Like, what type of books are you reading?
Um, I go across genres, but mostly I would say a lot of fiction. Right now I'm reading a couple books actually.
Mhm.
That's what I'm looking at. There's a book called Soul Pancake that's really good.
Mhm.
That one's kind of like you read about different topics and stuff and kind of just think about it and dwell on it. I'm reading a book called Death Notice. I just got into that one. It's kind of about, I would say, I know it takes place in China and there's a lot of things going on and it's kind of leading into the story without telling you the story. So I really like that. And then Zoom is a book I read. That was more on the business side, though. It's just about like different entrepreneurs and how they grew. So I read a couple different genres.
What about music? Does music play any type of role in how you style things? Especially because you have a fashion show coming up. So like when you're in the zone, like what song puts you in the zone to really, really start creating?
I actually really love music. I listen to all genres of music.
Mhm.
The song to put me in the zone, it'll probably be a Chase Atlantic song. I have a couple favorites of theirs though, so I don't know which one to pinpoint.
Mhm.
But Chase Atlantic is probably my top right now. But they're more of an alternative type band, so
Yeah.
I've been listening to them.
That's what's up. So the fashion show is coming up. Are we able to, for the people that's not in town, is there any way we can live stream that?
I'm not aware if the people over are gonna live stream it, but I'm definitely gonna have somebody live streaming on my Instagram. So if y'all come over to my Instagram, it's sneakers_lovers_brand. You can see it there. If you missed the live stream, there will be plenty of pictures and content across all my platforms. So even if you don't get to see it in person, you'll definitely get to see like the vibe and all the new stuff posted.
I walked what we left.
I can't see a damn thing if it ain't guap. I can't see a damn thing if it ain't guap. Yeah, they like Stevie, they can't see me, they won't beat me. I'm in that guinea.